Hey, personality students, welcome to Module 10. This module, we're going to be going over person, situation, interactional aspects of personality psychology. Sounds like a lot, but it's really kind of just thinking in terms of how you were raised based on your culture, based on your socioeconomic status, based on your race, your religion, all of these things. How are those situations kind of defining you and then also defining your personality traits. So we're going to kind of dive into that and examine kind of how all of these different moving parts really make you you. All right. And then we're going to also think in terms of if some of these situational aspects were to change, how does that affect you, and would that affect you? Okay. So we're looking at how you're really forming your own identity based on all these different things. Let's go ahead and click into Module 10. All right, so go over your learning objectives. In your read and review, I have a few different videos. So the first one is resisting the marshmallow test, which is really the idea of self-control. And it's also really the idea of delay of gratification. So this video talks about Walter Mischel's theory of delayed gratification, and he tests this on children in terms of putting a marshmallow in front of them and seeing if they can delay the gratification of eating the one marshmallow now, and then the promise of getting 2 marshmallows later on if they can go ahead and not eat it in that moment. And that can be anywhere from maybe like 10 to 15 minutes of just waiting for, eating that marshmallow to get 2 marshmallows. So the video talks about that. And, if kids decide to eat the marshmallow and not delay that gratification, how that can be taught later on. It's easier to teach it or instill that when people are younger, because the longer it goes on without the delay of the gratification, the harder it is to resist. But you can teach, delayed gratification, you can teach self-control. There actually are schools with this idea of Mischel's theory of trying to teach or instill that in children. And it does help with their educational success and their economic success later on. So those are all really good things. So go ahead and watch that video. The second thing is about mirror neurons. So the neurons in our brain that kind of, fire and kind of copy other people's actions are called mirror neurons. So the best example of this is when someone yawns, you usually tend to yawn after that. It's your mirror neurons picking up on the fact that someone else is yawning, and then you kind of mimic that as well. This video kind of goes into a better explanation of that, or maybe a more scientific explanation of that, but it's really interesting in terms of how some people possess more mirror neurons than other people, and they can kind of understand or have a better understanding of some things before they happen. And that's kind of related to your mirror neurons. The last thing that I want you guys to cover is this life course theory. This is by Caspi, and this really emphasizes different changes that people can have. So that could be age, culture, social groups, life events, all these different things, how those are going to be shaping and changing who you are, and how that's going to affect your life course. So go over this and kind of maybe think about how this could apply to you in your own life course, because that's going to help you for the discussion question. Speaking of discussion questions, go ahead and do your chapter 10 quiz, and then let's look at the chapter 10 discussion question. All right, so of course, always remember to include an APA reference for all of your discussions, just a friendly reminder there. But for this discussion, I want you guys to think about longitudinal studies, remember studies that happen over a long period of time, and the life course approach that you guys are going to learn about this week, and how that's going to give you a better understanding of personality and how people, kind of change or develop their personality traits. So you're going to list what the difference is between a longitudinal study and the life course approach, as ways of looking over people or examining people over a longer period of time. And then you're going to determine what are some major or defining moments of your own life course that maybe have molded you into the person that you are. Now, you don't have to give me like something personal. It could be a very vague example, but you want to expand on that, right? This thing happened, and then I think that molded or switched me into maybe thinking about certain things this way, and now I kind of changed my personality to be this, whatever it is. You can kind of give me as much or as little information, but don't overshare anything that you don't feel is appropriate. We'll get the gist of it. And then after that, how do you believe that these defining moments of your life impacted your own personality? Or maybe they didn't. Maybe you believe that this was a big thing, you learned something from it, or maybe you didn't, and it didn't really impact you that much. That's fine. Go ahead and state that. And then the last thing that I want you guys to consider is, do you believe if you were to relive your own life again, maybe in a different location, maybe in a different culture, maybe having a different religious belief, maybe living at a higher or lower socioeconomic status, whatever that is, do you think that you would be a different person from the one that you are now? And that's kind of a trippy thing to think about. It's definitely more philosophical, but I think it's something that's interesting enough to kind of think about. So go ahead and brainstorm that and critically think and put an answer down. Again, that there's no right or wrong answer for that. It's just a belief. All right. So that's going to be your module 10 in terms of the different information you're learning and what you're going to be sharing. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys think a little bit introspectively, and I will see you guys in chapter 11.